the newest real-time strategy by Stella Games, Pendulum, coming up.
Hi, it's Tarrant.
And Stella from Meeple University. Today we're going to talk about Pendulum, the new Stella game.
Yes.
We're going to start with overview and the thought of the game afterwards. So Tarrant, take it to the table.
Yep, so this is Pendulum. It plays 1 to 5 players. It's primarily 3 to 5 players, but there's variants for 2 and then a solo mode. And it is... So it's basically a trailblazer. It is a real-time competitive Euro game.
Which is quite unique. It's
Yes,
not really
I'm not aware of
something like that.
Yeah, I'm not aware of any others. We've played real-time co-ops with Hourglasses before, and a few other games in real time, but never a Euro. And so this is a trailblazer in that area.
Correct.
See how it goes.
So what is the theme of the game?
So the theme is you are trying to get the most influence over this this landscape or this country. So you're all competing for that influence. And you need to get it in 3 key areas: power, prestige, and popularity. And those are represented by 3 different victory point tracks. And you need to advance them all. If you can advance them all past this area where it goes from not coloured to on this paper, then you get 1 point for each step you've gone above there, and whoever's pushed it all as far as they can will win the game. But if you max out 2 of them and don't get the third one to the scoring area, then someone who's only just got all 3 into the scoring area is going to beat you. So it's a game that forces generalization
rather than specialization. Yes.
It is very much if we ignore the real-time bit for a moment, the Euro part of this game is pretty straightforward.
It is indeed.
You've got 3 types of resources: military, culture, and gold. You need to get those. Those can be gained through these banner actions.
It's kind of very twisty worker placement type of action.
Yep, yeah, it's ultimately a worker placement action. So you'll put a worker onto a space, and then when you run it through to the other side, it will get what is shown there. Sometimes you have to spend
gold.
So a lot of these actions here require you to spend the gold that you've gained in order to get certain effects or certain victory points. And that's really it. You're using these spaces to gain resources and then spend them to get points and a couple of other upgrades. So you can get provinces. Provinces are these cards here. They give you some options, and they have these banners on them, and you slide them under here to build up the power of that banner. So, for example, here, the yellow banner is what gives you gold. As a base, you get 2 gold for it. Or this character gets 2 gold for it. These are unique. But then once you start adding these, this will give you a vote as well. Or you could get one that gives you more gold, so you've got a better gold engine. And essentially you've got those 4 engines that you'll be building up by getting these provinces. Provinces require military, so you have to gain military in order to spend them here to get the provinces. There's also the blue one will give you culture, and culture is used to recycle the cards in your hand. So each player's got 4 cards in hand that they can use to get different effects. And
it's really helpful effects.
Yep. And you'll be gaining more of those at the end of each round, and when you spend 5 you get to pick them all back up and cycle through them again. So essentially you've got red is creating an engine down here and blue is creating an engine in these cards.
Yeah.
And really the only other mechanic is the votes. At the end of each round, whoever's got the most votes gets the first pick of the new cards to go in here, and some of those are strong and some of them are weak.
And some of these cards let you upgrade your Meeple, or like this one over here lets you give you more points, or once off only to give you the
free province
card. Yeah.
Yep. And then there's one other mechanic which is here. Each each round, except the first round in a 2 or 3 player game, if you complete the objectives shown up here, you've got the option of gaining the victory points shown or getting the star. And the star lets you move this token to the right. And you have to, if you do not do that, you also cannot win the game. So there's an objective there that is competitive for people to meet as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the Euro part of the game. It is very simple, very conventional.
Mm-hmm.
What this game brings is the hourglasses and the timing and the real-time elements of it. So there are 2 rows of matching actions in each part. And what happens is when an hourglass is not in a row, you're allowed to put workers into there, or you're allowed to take workers out of there and move them to other rows.
Or even its own row, if possible.
Or the same row. If it were here and the hourglass wasn't there, you could move it there. But you can't take the action. It's only when the hourglass is moved to that location that you can then slide the meeple down to the bottom row, pay anything that's shown there, and take the action. And so the game is really about making sure you're keeping track of where the hourglasses are, moving your workers to the right spaces.
And these hourglasses got different lengths of how long they last: 45 seconds, 2 minutes, and 3 minutes.
Yep, so the black actions you'll be taking more frequently, 45 seconds. The green actions, which are mostly the military side, every 2 minutes. And then the purple actions, which are the culture side, is every 3 minutes, so it's your least frequent. And this is what times the round. After this is flipped 3 times, that's the end of the round. And then you do the end of round scoring, and then you go back for the next round. And that's really what builds the game. There's a competitive element where worker placement is slightly competitive. So if there is a worker in a space, you can still go there, but only with your grande worker, your large worker. So you do need to get in quickly. And the hourglasses, you don't have
not
to...
this one, sorry. This is all spaces.
Oh, sorry, that is...
Yeah.
These ones are not competitive, but if I had done that up here, yes, I would have to put a grande worker in to take that action.
Yep.
And that forces you to keep on your toes. You've got to watch when these hourglasses are going. You've got to remember to take the actions, resolve the actions, and move the workers. Because if a worker is frozen behind an hourglass, then you've essentially lost a couple of actions out of that worker.
That gives kind of like a new set of mechanics. We play it differently. The first time we played, and it is recommended to play with this time track, essentially, rather than real time, it's every round which hourglass that is going to flip. So you can plan, especially the first few rounds, you can plan better and trying to get used to the mechanics of you can move it, but you can't take the action. You take the action, but you can't move it. It has different... It just plays differently than I thought, firstly, because there's a lot more going on there than I thought. So this represents the how often this hourglass flips as well. So with purple being the least get flipped.
Yeah, that's essentially the perfect situation where each hourglass is flipped exactly as it expires.
Yes.
And it lets you slow the game down and gives you the time to think. But it maintains the mechanic of the worker has to be moved only when the hourglass is not there, and so on.
Yeah.
And that's fundamentally the game. As we say, it's a very simple Euro, but it's what it does with these hourglasses and the way, even if it weren't real time, this is quite a unique mechanic, I think.
Yeah.
It's quite a nice way of managing, a different way of managing worker placement, which is often what we're looking for. Where standard round-based worker placement has been done a lot of times. So to have even an untimed version of this game is a nice new spin on that. But then bringing in the real-time elements of it is certainly very innovative.
It feels different though when you time it and not time it. It feels a little bit slow, obviously. it's like, okay, and then flip this one, flip that one. It's more mechanical rather than, okay, let's do this, do this, do this. It's got different feeling, I think.
Yeah, very much so. We played half the game without and half with, or half each way. And yeah, very different feelings.
And each character has got different, or slightly like side A and B, and slightly different kind of like the marker here. So
different victory point tracks, different resources, different powers in these
different
cards.
powers, yeah, which makes it interesting. And obviously there's a variety of characters that you can do. I think as with other Stone Mayor games like Scythe, what's the other one? Tapestry, sorry, yeah, that was like recently came out. Don't think there's anything in Wingspan, but yeah. So the theme, despite of that, this is a Euro game, so I never expect anything with like very thematic in Euro game, because that's usually is. So when I had Pendulum, I thought that was because it's real time. So like it's Pendulum is a clock, tick tock, so it's it's real time. But it's actually something else to do with the theme, which I don't really, to be honest, I don't really get the theme. But as I say, it's kind of like expected.
It's pretty hard to think about the theme in real time.
Yeah.
I will say that.
Like, is there any Euro games that are very thematic to you that you can think of on top of your head?
I mean, there are.
Like what?
I don't know.
See, not on top of your head. So that's like, just I never expect about the theme in Euro game. However, the rest of it obviously compensate for the theme for me anyway, because I'm I like Euro game, but I also like a cute little thing with thematic things. The spells you mentioned about the specialization and generalization. So I believe in a lot of Euro game people like to specialize rather than generalize.
It's common.
Not all of them.
It's common in a lot of games to have a specialization.
And you actually mentioned about in this part with the province cards, you can't specialize because the maximum that you can have for your engine build is 2 cards, and after that you have to discard the card.
At the end of the round, you can build a big engine but only use it inside one round, and that is
that worth it?
Yeah, and it depends on. It'd be very situational. It can take a lot of effort to put those cards there, so losing them can hurt.
Yeah. So this only like you just kind of like generalize on all of them, so you can't really special. Okay, I want to keep, hitting those just the culture to get resources and everything, because this actually not necessarily gold. You can get more gold. You can also get other things like you can cross thing it like military. So in a way you can specialize. So you want to get military, you get the military cards here and here. Yeah. Although it's spread into 4 different areas.
Yeah. Most of the cards don't specialize. Most of them just give you more of what would normally be there. But it is more so than most games. I think it is really forced generalization.
Right,
You have to generalize on victory points to win. You have to discard if you're getting too big in an area. And you can understand why. I mean, having played this game, if someone's got a column of 8 in red, they're just going to, or especially in yellow, which you can run every 45 seconds, they're just going to work that. And it would probably break this game. So I can definitely understand why that is in there. It's not going to appeal to people who like to specialize on their engines. But, it really does work with the game.
And the other thing is with the real-time element, how do you actually keep track when everyone's doing a lot of things at the same time? I wonder how. I mean, it's not necessarily cheating, but things might get missed. Like, how do you necessarily keep track of things, I guess?
It's a common problem in real-time games. Yeah. Real-time games have some inherent challenges, and Pendulum doesn't resolve any of those challenges. It still has those challenges, and that is definitely one of them. When you're thinking quickly, it's very easy to do the wrong thing by mistake and have it not be picked up. And I mean, if that mistake results in you doing 2 purple actions when there's only really time for 3 per round,
That's quite
it can be
significant,
a big break to the game. And I think we both found, I don't know if you caught me a couple of times putting my worker down in a row that did have an hourglass. That's easy to,
that's easy to, understand.
There's no big X over where I can't place it. So it's easy to do. And that is in a co-op, I guess in a co-op where everyone's, a kitchen rush type game where everyone's working together and watching each other, you can catch that a little bit more. Or even if you break the rules for or against you, it's a fun co-op and it's not a big issue. But a little mistake like that can actually break this game. So
just got to be careful with that, I guess.
Yeah, you've got to know the rules going in.
Like this is very good to have at the start to play until you get used to it. Even like the whole game with it and then the next one with... I mean, I don't think the game is actually that long, especially with...
Yeah, each round is 10 minutes. So.
Yeah, it's... We do play a few real-time games, as you said before, Kitchen Rush and Rush MD and Magic Maze. And there's one thing I can't remember.
Yeah, there's a few out there.
Yeah, but they are cooperative.
Yeah, and a couple of the other things that... a couple of the other challenges that real-time games offer. One is... Oops, I knocked the hourglass over.
Yep.
So... there's hands going everywhere. You can bump into each other. An arm might be over and you can't quite see the card you're picking up.
I was like yelling at you, like, I want to see this.
So that is a challenge. One of our hourglasses, the sand didn't run.
Yeah.
So you got to tap the top of the hourglass.
That was just once though.
It was just once, but it's one of these things that is inherent to a real-time game.
That's true,
and you've got to understand that going into one of these sorts of games.
If you expect that, then that's fine.
What the game does do quite well is some of the typical issues, people trying to do things at the same time, is resolved using... there are ways in the rules to resolve them all, and one of the key ones is this prestige track where whoever wins the votes in each round essentially breaks the tie whenever 2 people try to do the same thing at once. So there's a mechanism in there, but it's still, it doesn't stop 2 people trying to do the same thing and pieces dropping everywhere and then they argue and then someone else's hourglass runs out while they're trying to work it out. So you've got to be really on the ball with resolving that. And the one other thing I noticed from a real-time perspective, and this was different to those Kitchen Rushy co-ops, is that it's actually very solitaire.
Right.
And we didn't find this when we were doing it timer track style, it was less so, but when we were doing our own thing, we were doing our own thing.
That's actually
It
true.
was, all right, I need to do this, I need to do this. And it was not a very social experience. Playing through the real-time part of the game.
Until I saw you going to a place that I want just like a split seconds before I did, and I yelled at you. And that's social. It could be. Except I've got a grande worker. I think you've done very well last game because I got more workers or more grande worker or something. And you still beat me because you managed to... I don't know how you did it. Maybe more.
I think I got a good combo out of these at the end, and that worked it through.
Yeah, I thought I was up for my voting all the time, but really it's not because then you beat me at the last one.
Yeah, because there's a card in here that lets you pull a worker off a space that has an hourglass. It's essentially an extra
Everyone
action.
has got it, I think, or maybe almost everybody.
I think everyone has it. It costs different amount, I think, for
this one.
For different people. So that was how our game played out. I think that was all the points I had on the game. Was there anything else you...
No, you pretty much covered it. I think it's whether if you like, you know what you're getting into for a real-time game like this for you. The Euro part of the theme, well, don't really expect a lot of theme, but if you like intuitive and kind of engine building still with like a bit of a twist, just give it a go. I think that's something for you.
Yeah, I will say I found the engine building very satisfying.
Oh yeah.
It was quite slow to start with. You didn't have a lot going on at the start of the game, but by the end my engine built up a lot faster than I expected it to.
There's different ways as well. I thought I was doing fine with the engine build. So, I can get this and I'll stack the card here and I can get this. With this I can do another thing, and that part is definitely satisfying.
Yeah, just don't expect any new solutions to the existing problems that come with a real-time game.
I think that's fair opinion. Yeah.
It's not going to be for everyone, but I think it's definitely very innovative and very well put together.
Should you play? You decide for yourself. So if you enjoy our review, please hit that like button and subscribe to us if you haven't already done so. We do all sort of video, not just review, but how to play through, my short and sweet and so on, and live playthrough. And also subscribe to us, Meeple University, and hit the bell so you get notification. I also on social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, so you can find me there and chat with me there too. So hopefully we'll see you next time. Bye!